Hello, true duelists. It's me, disease-free Fee, and I had to decide today whether to keep my hair looking gross and just film anyways, or shower, ensure that my hair looked gross, and film anyways. And you get to tell me which one you think I opted for in this episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update. Welcome to the month of May. Not only is it a new month, but I also remembered that I had the idea to go over the big things that would happen each month at the beginning of each month. So now that's what I'm doing at the start of this month. Take a shot every time I say month, and you will most assuredly die of alcohol poisoning. For TCG fans and enthusiasts, there is of course YCS Rio de Janeiro happening this weekend, so if you aren't already in Brazil by the time you're watching this video, you can get fucked because you're most certainly not attending the event. You missed it, and you missed out on Brazil. You can tell me whether or not that's good or bad. But in terms of new sets, there's nothing to shake up any format in terms of new cards. However, the Rarity Collection 2 will be out on May 23rd, missing the chance for the release of the 25th anniversary set to be dropped on the 25th, presumably because Konami are cowards. Tell me again, why aren't I sponsored? This set does seem to be the desired follow-up to the best set of 2023, with reprints including Access Code Talker, Appaloosa, Droll and Lockbird, Magician Souls, IP Masquerena, and even a bunch of Pearly cards that not a single person meaningfully asked for at this point. We still don't know the full set list as of now, but there's enough great cards for people to be hopeful, or at least enough to allow the brokies to now afford Access Code. That's not the exact way I would put it when it comes to my mind, but I did see someone comment exactly that once, and I have to admit, I laughed. It's now stuck in my head rent-free. This month, you can also expect the reveals for the upcoming OCG set Duelist Pack, Guys Who Have Light and Shit, I'm never going to say the name of that pack correctly, which has given us new Trickstar and Tachyon support, and a mystery third deck that it'll be revealed in the next coming weeks, because we don't know what it is. Is it Arcana? Is it Cyber Angel? It's not going to be Cyber Dragon, because that shit would have been all over the fucking cover of this pack. And that's it for me. So hope you enjoy the format, because nothing's changing in the next 30 days or so, bar I'm not tempting Konami to drop an unexpected ban list by saying that nothing will be changing. And speaking of things that aren't changing, we can take a look at the format, because there are tops, not from YCSs, but from various regionals and events that have gone on over the last weekend. Tenpai is the most obvious deck to be expected, because Dragons and OTKs, which is possibly the most Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck of all time. And there's the ever-rising popular Yubel/Fiendlink/Fiend whatever other uninspired name we'll end up settling on. Taking a look at some of the largest regionals from last weekend, you're not going to believe this. Snake Eye is still a really good deck. Looking at the top 8 of a regional in Rosemont with some 400 players or so, you can expect to see our new toys and Snake Eye to do well, right? Well, you're half right. Snake Eye is there, and it won the entire event. And no Tenpai, but instead Blackwing get top 8. Okay. No Tenpai or Fiend stuffs though, so surely if we take a look at a regional in Paris that had some new decks where there were 300 or so players, we can expect to find some. None again? Well, at least you can celebrate Snake Eye not winning if you're okay with celebrating the fucking puppet lock being a valid thing still. Valid in certain contexts. A Fort Worth regional did have a little over 500 duelists, and there's a little bit of fun in here because top 8 did get a Yubel deck. Oh boy, something different finally. And it lost to Snake Eye in the finals, wherein Snake Eye won the event outright. But hey, second place, not bad. A Salem regional with 300-ish duelists is the first one where you'll meaningfully say Tenpai popping up, getting 3 spots at a top 8, with only 1 making it to top 4, and whoops, look at that, it's still Snake Eye format. They won the fucking event again. But if you want a minor shakeup, Tenpai did win the Greek Open, which had some 300 or so players. And its top 8 was pretty damn diverse. Flew on to Reason, Rescue Ace showed up again, and Tenpai takes the win, which means that something other than Snake Eye and Puppet Lock has won again. Truly, the format is saved because they did it. They fixed it. Clearly, you can't even argue it. All in all, not the greatest showing for our newest deck, or decks, plural, depending on how aware you are of Yubel strength in the OCG currently, but also we're missing that free custom fusion monster they have in the TCG, so it's not quite at full power yet here. So obviously it's not going to be as good. But hey, it's not nothing. There's more than 5 events this weekend. I'm sure these decks did well in other areas to some amount. And more than anything, they aren't the big events because it's not a YCS. It doesn't matter. That's what the kids tell me. As said, YCS Rio de Janeiro is taking place this weekend. Outside of the cards you can borrow from your friends, Tenpai is a reasonably affordable deck. A little overpriced for super rares, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh! You can't afford this fucking game anyway. Shut up, okay? It's a reasonably affordable deck, so there's a chance it will do well this weekend. Only time is going to tell. Regardless of how good or bad the decks perform, when the best deck is untouched from its core deck, you can probably guess what my money's on, because that's it. Don't worry though, guys. The next ban list will get it right. That's what we gotta keep saying to ourselves. And there was actually another YCS this past weekend, but it took place in the OCG. YCS Tokyo 2024, obviously in Japan, had more than 7,400 players in attendance, which, fun fact, did set the Guinness World Record for not only the largest trading card game tournament, but also most entrants in a trading card game tournament, because why not? Can you imagine that? 7,443 players all gathered to duel in Yu-Gi-Oh! Truthfully, I don't know what the difference is between those two awards, unless largest means like they counted the physical size of the venue, but even then I doubt that. I'm guessing it has something to do with the number of players who signed up to play versus the number who got attendance to play, with there being a lot of talk this past weekend of the 8,000 number. And there was also a lot of Tenpai, funny enough, because if you look at the results of this 7,400 or so player event, where they decided to make run on best of one because that's the only way to reasonably finish a 7,400 player event in one day, I suppose. Yeah, I think it went down to top 256 is what I heard, which is insane, but I've only been able to find information starting at top 64. And yep, that's a lot of Tenpai and a lot of one-ofs. Notably, not a ton of anything else. Tenpai did get 10 out of the top 64 slots. Voiceless Voice, Melodious, and the Gimmick Puppet FTK, because yeah, that's a thing, got 2 spots each, and then everything else got 1. That's right. In regards to the OCG, Snake Eye is exactly on par with Memento, and there's nothing you can do to refute that because of the results from the single best of one event that took place in Japan on one day. And the winner of the event actually was Voiceless Voice. Yeah, I didn't have money on that either, but I guess if you make enough no's, then Voiceless Voice gets a yes to the win. So that, if nothing else, explains the price of low, maybe? Who knows? Most notable from this event, in all honesty, wasn't just the results, but instead the Karibo mascot that was, in some instances, literally running people down face first, just straight up bumping into people. Wild shit to see. Because name one thing you want more in life and from Sphere Karibo than exactly that. There's nothing that you want more than that. That is, of course, the peak. This guy's just running around the event being a regular-sized individual, taking pictures and hanging out and having fun. Initially, this script goes over this part of a photo I found that I've been unable to save, but thankfully it turns out I did save it, wherein he looks dejected in a corner, abandoned. Could this be the graveyard that Sphere Karibo is sent to so often? Maybe. That's a pretty... dystopian isn't quite the word, but that's a hell of a vibe coming from that picture, let me tell you. I fucking love that picture, okay? Ball guy, best guy was nice to see, and that's the whole, I'm just stretching this whole bit out to talk about. I fucking love that thing, dude. I want that costume so bad. And those are the big stories from this past week. There's 2 other small ones that weren't quite worth getting their own segments, so I'm just going to cram them into one. You can decide how unrelated they are. Spoiler alert, they're completely unrelated. The OCG announced its newest deck build pack and crossover breakers, so you know what that means. Another anime girl deck, another dragon-looking deck, and another illustrious other. One time we got Hungry Burger. The other time I think we just got 2 anime girl decks. It's wild. Who knows what we'll get? Maybe robots. Maybe snakes, we'll never know. We're not going to know anyways until closer to the release of this set in the OCG, namely on August 24th, so you're probably not going to see shit until like July. But now you know the name of the set, so you can guess what it means. Maybe there's some archetype crossover. Maybe there's just some broken shit in there because of the breakers, get it? Who knows? There's also, of course, the trinkets from the Japan National Qualifiers that were revealed this week, namely the sleeves and playmat featuring the iconic Slay for the Sky Dragon. You look at these cool things and you'll be like, damn, I wish we got those, and I don't blame you. That's a sick-ass mat and sleeves. So maybe if you're a fan of wasting money on eBay, you're happy, but other than that, more mauled at the OCG. I also saw someone this week on Reddit talking about how Slifer was the best god card and how Obelisk was unusable at any point in the OCG or TCG, which was hilarious to me because it's proof that people really do just say shit online because they're fans of god cards, because Slifer's always been absolute dog shit, and Obelisk was literally the only one to ever see play prior to ever, where it saw play in things like God Frogs in like 2011-ish, and some people even teched it into rulers for the meme in very rare instances. But at this point, I'm just rambling about something I saw that pissed me off. Maybe that'll be a new weekly segment. Who fucking knows? This is all just filling time, and that is a crime called time theft. So let's wrap it up and move on to the end of this video. And so, like I said, that wraps it up. Thanks, as always, go to LIFD for the sponsorship, with the best way to support my channel financially and the true Duelist-approved way to show off your favorite cards. You can use promo code YGOSTRATS15 to save 15% off for yourself, whether buying the singles card display or the triple card display. Either way, make sure you hit subscribe. Not only will the number go up, thereby increasing my serotonin and make me feel better and validated as a person, but you will immediately and contractually impress your smoking Italian wife, and she won't be able to dispute it because it's in the contract. Oh, and also you'll be able to call yourself a true duelist because that will be the case. So thank you, do that, and I will see you next week on the Yu-Gi-Oh! Update.